Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unstabled, the 14th episode. That's right, we're finally cranking out another one on time. And I think this will come out just after the 4th of July, so hope you all had a safe one. Hope you all still have all fingers and toes. And you just remember what the holidays for. And
Who who
it's
was the what's his name? Oh, Jason Pierre-Paul. Don't pull a Jason Pierre-Paul.
keep your thumbs, folks.
And happy birthday, America. It
Sure.
this might be one of the most depressing of them all.
Good reason though. Good reason that we have it.
Yeah.
So again, 14th episode. Make sure you go through the routine. If you're new here, drop a like, drop a sub. Make sure you share it. Go over to this AFC South show and do the same. I'm also on that one as a regular, of course, on the Curtis Podcast Network. And Alex of Chaotically Intolerant, head on over there. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm just chilling. I'm still like physically recovering from our tournament. I don't know why. It's just taken me forever. I think I got thrown into a gauntlet because after the tournament ended, I had about a week, and then my birthday was on the 29th, well, on the 29th on Saturday. And I wanted to watch the Red Sox play on Saturday. They got shellacked. I was literally like, I'm done watching this in like the third inning. And then my girlfriend's birthday was Tuesday, and she turned 21. So that was, big prep day. And then my anniversary is tomorrow. So it's just been a gauntlet of stuff. I'm going to be excited. I'm equally excited for my anniversary as I'm also like, I need a break. So
For sure.
yeah,
But I mean, sometimes being busy is a good thing. Guess it depends on the kind of busy.
there's definitely good things and bad things to it.
Sure. I think we're gonna post a link to it. I kind of just want to talk about this for a second. My oldest son, 14, he has Down syndrome. I've been, reaching out resources in Houston. Fortunately, there's quite a few. Down Syndrome Association of Houston finally got back to me and gave me a bunch of information, hooked me up with some, resources to help him out. I don't know if people know his mother passed away last November, so I've been trying to find things to help him out with that.
Yeah,
And they actually in Houston have a buddy walk. So I registered him for it and made a team. I guess just, whatever. I'm the captain of the team. So I think we're going to post a link if anybody out there is interested in throwing down a few bucks for Team Adams Avengers. He likes the Avengers, so that's what I put. I couldn't think of anything else. But I think we're posting a link. So if you do, we appreciate it. Anything that can help out with these things, keep these activities going for them it's great. So we'd appreciate it if you do, and if not, just share it. Help out if you can. We appreciate it.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, I don't want to say we're going into a pod with not a huge game plan, but we're really not. We're just going to riff, have some fun with it, talk about, it's slow. I don't think training camp is a couple weeks away. So
Yeah, we have 10 or I think 9 Sundays now. Might be 9 Sundays until the first football Sunday of
yeah,
the 2024 season. So
super excited.
it's it can't get here fast
I
enough.
can't get any faster. I keep seeing those memes. It's like, man, I'd take a shitty Thursday night game, and even if it's Chris Collinsworth and oh, what's his
I
name?
saw someone say I would
Joe
take
Buck.
Bears Commanders again.
With Joe
If
Buck, Chris
they
Collinsworth commentating. I don't care. Just give me some football, man. I'll take a shitty
I'll
Thursday
take
night game right now.
I'll take a middle school flag football
Give
game
us
at
something.
this point.
Just give us
Give me
something.
something, baby. Just give me betting lines on it, and I'm good.
Anything. We can't bet in Texas. It sucks so bad. I
Ridiculous.
just want to put a buck on something, man. But I was on the what was it, third and teal. So I think they're dropping it. Well, by the time you're watching it, they dropped it yesterday.
Yeah.
This will probably pop out Friday. So I was on their pod yesterday. Make sure you go to the third and teal. I know Jacksonville. Nobody wants to watch that shit, but I was on it. They're really cool guys. Just kind of went over, you know, trying to get to know each other's team, kind of deal. What we think about what the other team is doing. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. Just look at the other teams in the AFC South, how we stack up against them, And of course, the Colts are better in every aspect in every way, but we can run through it. So since I brought up Jacksonville, we'll talk about them first. They asked me some pretty cool questions, and I guess I'll get Alex's thoughts on it. We kind of went over a little bit pre-show, but right now, would you rather have Anthony Richardson or Trevor Lawrence?
Uh, at this moment, with everything that we've seen, I would 100% take Richardson more just because there is the factor of the unknown, where we've kind of seen what Lawrence is right now, and not saying his ceiling can't increase, as he progresses, because we got to remember this guy's been in the league for 3-4 years, and that first year was a clusterfuck, a debacle, whatever word you want to say. um that first year with Coach Urban Meyer was just
Tragic,
horrible. I guarantee you it had some sort of impact on his career in a negative way. um
for sure.
so but we've seen what we get from him, and I would rather take the unknown of Richardson. Of this guy's a physical specimen, and obviously has had some injury struggles to start his career, but if he can stay healthy, hopefully he can keep progressing, and have a really good year this year. And Trevor Lawrence, I just the best of Trevor Lawrence wasn't, it was good. I wasn't, like, oh, I would take that on the Colts in a heartbeat. I would rather just roll the dice. This is the situation where the two birds in the bush is, I think, better than the bird in the hand.
Yeah, I agree. They asked me that question on the pod, and there was one point that I didn't bring up, and it's I think Chris Ballard has done a good job building this team, and I've said it multiple times. I really think a lot of these seasons they've just been a quarterback away, just maybe average or slightly above average quarterback play, and they're probably in the playoffs the last 2-3 years,
Yeah.
maybe 2 out of 3. Maybe the whole team as a whole with that Matt Ryan season was kind of a disaster, but they've been close, man. They were really close last year. Lost some close ones, won some close ones they maybe should not have. But I mean, they've been knocking on the door, and they had Gardner Minshew, who, and I also said this on Third and Teal. Gardner Minshew isn't looking good in Oakland. They've said it in OTAs that he is not looking good. He's missing routes, not a lot of zip on the ball. Like, they paid him, what was it, 15 million or something like that, and it might be, what's his name, Chase Daniel, I think.
Oh, you mean Aiden O'Connell?
Aiden O'Connell, Jesus. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Aiden
I think
O'Connell.
Chase
They have
Daniel
the
was
most
there at
generic
one
name.
point.
Yeah, it's the most generic. Aiden O'Connell. Anyway, he might be the starting quarterback over Minshew. They might have a very, very expensive backup in Gardner Minshew, which, I mean, I was saying it all year. He's a backup for a reason. He's a good backup. He's a good guy. He knows the game. He's just not a starter. But yeah, it's and to get back on track. I also said Anthony Richardson, but they handcuffed Trevor Lawrence so bad in Jacksonville. Like, we talked about this. They brought in Calvin Ridley. Everyone was on the hype train, and he fizzled. Like, he didn't do anything. He had a few good plays, but he wasn't a number one. Like, he was like a
Correct me if
number
I'm
three.
wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was suspended for gambling, right? Like
That
that
was
first
that was
year.
in Atlanta, and
Well, that was in
they
Atlanta,
still,
but I think that was
yeah, but they
for
brought him in,
his
kept him,
first
and
year
then
in Jacksonville.
right.
Yeah.
And it's like they were hoping for these big things. I don't know if they were looking for, like a Josh Gordon type of talent. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they went and got Gabe Davis, who I think really just excelled because of Stephon Diggs. So I don't know if he's going to be this. I don't know if he's going to be a number one. And right now, after him, it's like they've got Evan Ingram. Like, they've really handcuffed him offensively. They don't like they talk about, oh, we don't really need a one because of the scheme. Well, I mean, you kind of do. I think you need someone outside of Gabe Davis and Evan Ingram. I mean, he's no Kelsey, he's no Gronk, he's no. I mean, he's good, but is anybody really is he really keeping defensive coordinators up at night with worry? I don't think so. And they've got ETN, who's a great back. but I just feel like they've kind of handcuffed him and not really given him that big offensive weapon that could really turn him, kind of push this team forward and really make them a contender.
Yeah,
That's
I went on the show on the real Texas team podcast. Um and they we kind of discussed that too about I said, like, what is there what is there to be afraid of in Jacksonville? You can point to obviously the Texans have a number of weapons and CJ Stroud and Nico Collins and
I'll be right
um
back. I'm sorry.
I hope Tank Dell is going to be healthy as well. But I just don't it, show me the real danger. Travis Etienne is obviously a fantastic running back and he's a dual threat type of guy, but I mean Gabe Davis was I'm a more of a believer in Gabe Davis. Um, yeah, I'm like talking to no one.
Oh no, you're good. You're talking to the fans, man.
Uh,
All two watchers.
I'm just keeping it moving.
Oh, you're good.
Gabe Davis, I'm a bit more of a believer in Gabe Davis. I hope he does well. I like seeing those guys that were kind of stuck behind the big superstars get more of a shot, and he had a big impact in Buffalo, and I want to see him prove himself. More than anything. Tennessee, you could point to. Will Levis is very much of a wild card. What did we see all that much from Will Levis last year? Not really too impressive. He had some good throws to DeAndre Hopkins. Some of them were bad throws that Hopkins made good adjustments on. That
Some really
Tennessee
bad
team was
games.
just not good either. He wasn't exactly given the formula for success either. Um,
Mhm.
so, but I feel like Jacksonville is just the most mundane, boring team in my opinion. I just don't have much to be afraid of, and they're going to win eight games, 8 9 games at least.
I mean,
But
I think their defense is really good. I think they have a good front, front seven defensively, especially the
yeah,
front four. Um, their offensive line improved. I don't know
their
by how
ceiling
much,
seems
but
very low. It's
yeah,
a low ceiling compared to the other teams. Where I think the Colts and Texans are a lot more volatile because I don't think the media is discussing the chances of Stroud just having a sophomore slump this year, of him just being bad. And that's not exactly a crazy thing to say. I think we hype up
I don't know
all
if
these
he'll be
prospects.
bad, but there might be more of a coming to earth. Like he had kind of that fairy tale rookie season, and it's for the sake of the pod, for the sake, whatever, you hope that he keeps on the same trajectory or gets better. But
Yeah.
there's also and he had a really good season, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that he regresses a little bit.
Yeah.
People
I
figure him
think
out,
it's
they can game plan for him better.
we've seen it. We see it all the time. These guys struggle. I mean, we build them up, and if you have ever seen Air with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, the kind of ending monologue that they do to get Michael Jordan to sign with Nike, they say we're going to build you up into something greater than could have ever believed, and then we're going to tear you down again. And it does kind of feel like that's. I mean, it is what we're doing again. That's exactly what the media has been doing with CJ Stroud. They're going to give him no room to regress. And that should just be expected at some points. We're human beings. Sometimes you're going to regress. Sometimes these teams are just going to prepare a little more. Do I know what it takes? No. That's why I'm not game planning in the NFL right now because I don't know what it takes to do that. Um, but there's a lot of really great NFL minds out there that can help push that regression a little more. So it's bound to happen, and if it's not this year, it might be next year because what the level he was playing at was crazy good. And I'm not saying it
Yeah.
can't happen again, but to think that that is like his baseline.
Like,
I mean, if that's his baseline, he's going to be better than Patrick Mahomes.
is that as bad as it's going to get? Like,
Yeah, which
how
good for
high is
him.
DJ Stroud's ceiling? If that's the basement, then yeah, that's he's going to have a hell of a career.
But I think to tie
But
it more into the
statistically and
Jags,
historically,
yeah, statistically, historically, that's not going to be his worst season. But I think if you want to tie it into the Jags more, I think there's more of a volatility with the other three teams in this in this division. I mean, I think it's a lot more likely of a chance that the Colts lose 9, 10 games this year. I think there's a better chance of that happening. That it's a more of an option than the Jaguars losing 9, 10 games. I did
It,
not
it,
explain that well.
it does feel like the Colts are kind of boom or bust. Like
Yeah,
it's
and I
they
think
have a
I think
lot
the
of great
Texans are a little
players.
bit like that too.
Yeah, it's like one key injury away, and we're talking Richardson, we're talking Stroud, we're like maybe Buckner. Like that'd be a
Yeah.
huge blow to the defense. It's we're talking one injury, and it's like man, it could fall off the rails pretty fast. So
And it doesn't. I think it does feel a little bit like that with Tennessee, where I think the
it's already off the
floor
rails.
is the the floor is more likely. But if there is like because this is the AFC South, we're going to cannibalize each other. There's a chance Tennessee finds a way to like 8, 9 wins. I think that's a pretty realistic. I think it's realistic. I think they can win some division games. They're going to beat up on some lower teams.
Saying
Um,
6 wins is a stretch.
say I
I have no I
six
have
wins is a
no
stretch.
faith in Tennessee. I
How many did they win last year? I mean, they won what, seven games last year?
was it
If
they
I
lost
think if
Derrick
if
Henry
everything
and I
goes right, if everything goes right, their ceiling is 8 to 9 wins. I think that's their ceiling. Remember, everything has
that's
to
a
go right.
generous ceiling.
I think a realistic, obviously more realistic would probably be like 5, 6 wins.
Yeah.
If you look
I,
at,
I
I
I
think
said on
the
third and teal
Jag,
too. They might get swept in this division by each team,
they
but
also could
they
do that. That's a
they
very
said
easy
that
possibility.
they'll be one of these teams. Probably the Texans or Jacksonville goes into Tennessee with this cocky ass strut, and the Titans just beat the piss out of them for doing it. And
Yeah.
they'll pick up that one division win for no reason.
Yeah. I think the Jags, and if we want to talk about ceilings and floor, maybe we can do like a ceiling and floor thing for each team. I think their floor would be really like 7 wins. I think that's about as bad as you're going to get from the Jags, because they're going to beat teams in the division. It's a
Yeah.
given. They're going to beat some lower teams. So 7 and 10 is like the floor, and the ceiling. I mean, the Jags ceiling, they have a high ceiling. I think that's also pretty fair to say they could win 12 games. They do have a good defense, and if Trevor Lawrence plays well, they could, win maybe even 13. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. It's more unlikely. I would say the Colts are probably sitting around, if everything goes wrong, you lose a lot of guys, you're going to win 5 games.
It could be like a 4 or 5 win season, or it could be like
Yeah,
a 12 win season.
absolutely. It could be that.
Like you said,
I
very
think
volatile.
Houston, I'm going to give Houston a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. I'll say like a 6 game floor. I think they're a little better than us. I think they're a little bit more complete in all of the areas on the field. Um, and then Tennessee, I mean, well, what's the floor? 0? 1?
Yeah,
1 win? Is that the
one.
floor? And then I'll say their ceiling is going to sit around 8 to 9 wins. I know you're a little less generous with them, but
Like
I want to give them a little bit,
7. Like
because I feel like we've
I'm at
done
7.
this with them before, though, where we feel like they're going to be fucking horrible, and then they find their, like, by the end of the year, you're just like, oh, how did they do that? Like, how did they find their way to 8 wins or something like that? They're a respectable team. I actually want to look at their schedule. I want to see who they're playing,
But
but you can go through
I guess
yours, if you want.
no, I agree with a lot of that. I probably the floor for Tennessee is like 1 win. I put the ceiling at like 6 or 7. The Texans, I really like D'Amico Ryans, and I think if Stroud goes down, I think the ship kind of sinks. Um, so I would say their floor is probably the same, like 5, 6 wins.
Yeah.
Ceiling, yeah, I'll put them. I guess I'll put them at about 12. Um,
So I'm sorry. I'm looking at Tennessee's schedule. I feel like the Jets, they play the Jets early. The Bears and Jets are their first 2 games, which are rookie Caleb Williams and then Aaron Rodgers, and who knows if he'll be the quarterback. I think, and again, this is if everything goes right. I think they can win both of those games. I think that's like a possibility just because the other teams they're playing are such question marks.
They could also very
Packers,
easily lose both of those games.
they could also very easily lose them. Packers are, I don't know. I don't know. I think the Packers will beat them. The Dolphins in
Early,
September.
they'll beat
No
them.
one's beating the Dolphins in September. Um, we'll probably beat. I think we'll beat them early. They're going to lose to the Bills. They're going to lose to the Lions. I think they'll beat the Patriots. They might beat the Patriots. Um, Chargers. I don't think they'll beat the Chargers. Vikings. I think they can easily beat the Vikings. They'll take one off of Houston. I think they will. Because there's always that like rivalry, that mental thing going on there. Commanders,
Hmm.
they could. Um, do they like always beat Jacksonville and Tennessee? Don't they have a thing? There's like
Pretty
a thing
much.
with Tennessee and Jacksonville too, just like how we have with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's six wins. They could take one off of us. I think that's not crazy either. That's 7. Um, Bengals are a real question mark too, and then that final game of the year, Texans Titans. Like there's a universe they can win 8 games here.
I don't see it.
You keep going with yours.
Yeah. I think I left off. I think I did everyone but the Colts. Yeah, they're very volatile, man. If all goes well, I could see them. I could see them winning 12 games too. I could also see them losing 12 games.
Yeah,
Just but if Anthony Richardson's there, Jonathan Taylor, and the nucleus of this team, there's no reason for them to be under 500. Like this, like I said, Ballard's done a really good job of putting key pieces in key places. I like the team that he's built. Like I'm not saying they're the best roster in the NFL, but I think it's pretty pretty solid across the board. So I like their chances if Richardson stays healthy and they keep, you know, Jonathan Taylor together. Pittman does Pittman things. Adonai Mitchell. I really like this. And then, man, I love Jelani Woods and Ogletree. I, I think of all the teams, I think the Colts and Jacksonville match up really well. I think the Texans have just a little bit of an edge offensively because their receivers are so good and our secondary is such a question mark.
yeah,
Like like our secondary worries me, but the Jaguars receivers don't scare me either. It's the Texans receivers that scare me. The running game doesn't scare me,
yeah,
but the receivers do with Stroud. So I hope Gus Bradley has a totally different plan for Houston because they really did stuff to kind of pull away from this division, at least with what they stacked up on offense. I think of all the teams in this division, I think Texans worry me the most.
yeah.
Just because of that. I think their offense
Houston
can
are
put up some
they're
points.
right now. Houston, they're just the odds-on favorite. That's it.
Yeah. I really feel like if all goes well for all the teams, you know, Titans are a distant last. I think very well all 3 of these teams could be fighting for a playoff spot, wild card spot, division win. I don't want to. I'm not sure if I'd go as far as saying AFC South is sending 3 teams to the playoffs, but I think there's a world where that could happen.
Yeah,
And I could see all these teams being like 12, 11, and 10 wins. I think there's definitely a strong possibility that could happen. I think I mean, I at least want it for the pod because man, that would bring in some more views. But yeah, I don't see. I feel like this division could easily come down to the last couple of weeks of the season. I don't really see any team running away with it. Like, oh, we know by week 14, 15. Okay, well, this team's going into the playoffs. There's no chance the other two can win the division. Like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, on the Texans show, they kinda asked me something like that, and, I think they asked me, "Do you think the Colts will sweep the Texans, or will there be a sweep?" And I was like, "No, I mean, this is gonna be a most likely, because this is how it's kinda shaken out the past few years, it's gonna be a battle down the stretch for at least 2 teams." And they're gonna fight, 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 and that's kinda why I didn't really like how the NFL scheduled Colts and Texans, because I would say the odds are it's gonna be Colts and Texans leading the charge right now. Um, or at least those Colts Texans games will be meaningful down the stretch.
Yeah,
And playing them in week 1 and 8 just feels so cheap. It's like you want these teams when they're like preparing for that, or when they're in the playoff push. And that's really the team you're probably going to see in the playoffs versus, I mean, you look at teams from week 1 to week 10, and they are seen as almost completely different teams. So I
hmm
didn't really like how they did that. That's why I kind of like having later divisional matchups. I because of those chases down the stretch. Um, I mean, they should just split them down the middle. For you play 3 and 3. That's it. It should just be split down the middle. So all of those are important.
hmm yeah. The Colts have what Jacksonville at the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
Is it in Jacksonville?
Hold on. No, 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 it's not. It's in Indianapolis.
Oh,
Because it reminded me of.
the Colts can't lose that game. I'm going to say it right now. You can't let Jacksonville stroll into Indianapolis and fucking beat us again. Don't let that happen.
Yeah, I was like a little afraid of that too. I was like,
Unless if we've already clinched the division and you're just benching your starters, you can't let them come into Indianapolis and win.
yeah,
Can't
yeah,
it can't happen.
yep,
It can, but you can't. Just
not
don't
allowed.
don't
No,
let
no, no, no.
don't let it happen.
Yeah,
Be unfortunate if they had a bus, breakdown somewhere and they just they had to we forfeit.
yeah,
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah. No, you can't let them come into Indianapolis and win again.
yeah.
Oh, so I guess
So
what
I,
mm, go ahead.
I I'm gonna go off topic here, completely off Colts topic.
Oh boy.
We're not gerrymandering on this show, not yet. Um, that Hawk Tua thing, is that funny? I don't think
It
it's funny.
depends. It depends. Okay, there's some videos where it's okay. You remember Shrek, where it's a little gingerbread man, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Show me, tell me where he is," and he spits in his face, but instead of the gingerbread man talking, it's Hawk Tua, and like, okay, there's some funny things. There's a few funny. There was, oh god, let me see if I can find it. I
I
can't
think
really
I'll give, I guess, my opinion.
play it.
The When I first saw it, I like kind of giggled. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny." Like she's, an attractive girl, making a joke on the street, whatever. That's like okay. And then it has just been like completely blown out of the water. I was like,
Oh,
I
for sure,
don't need to see this all the time.
for sure. I agree.
Like, and
There's
and
there's
again, I'm
there's been
I'm
some good. I'm trying to see if I can pull the screen share the video on it. Apparently, like she went on a podcast and everything's made up.
yeah.
Like she
She
doesn't
went
have
on the
her
bars.
yeah her
Yeah.
dad's not a priest. She wasn't fired from her job as a school teacher. Like it's all bullshit. But apparently, some guy, and I think this is just kind of how like the thinking of my brain or how other people's brains works. But a guy offered her $600 for her to spit in a jar
Oh,
and
I
send
heard
it to him.
about that.
And I'm like, she's like, that
That's
is
so
so
gross.
gross. Okay, first, you know what he's gonna do with the spit. No,
That's
it's
even
but
worse.
but it's just a jar of spit. Okay, so what's worse? So what's worse? Sending a jar of spit for 600. I'll spit in any jar or cup for $600. I don't give a shit what you do with it.
It's not gross for her.
No
It's
girl
it's
is asking
incredibly
me for my
gross.
spit. I'm just saying.
It's incredibly like,
But
honestly, because I've heard like stories about like guys, people pay for OnlyFans or
yeah,
like pornography, and that's just, I don't like telling people what to do with their money. I think if it's your money, you work for it, it's yours. But like that's the one time where I'm like, man, I wish we could just not allow that. Like I hear people complain about being poor, and I'm like, well, if you spent your money on OnlyFans or like any, stuff like that, it's immediately I don't feel bad. Um, but again, I'm never gonna be upset if someone because I think she's gotten like $60,000 from this already. I'm never gonna be upset when someone gets that. Like for no matter what. I'm like, you know what? $60,000 is like not life changing money like $1 million, but that's a lot of fucking money. Like a lot of people would do a lot to make 60 grand like that. Like that's incredibly helpful for people. Like I'm never gonna be upset. People are upset that she made money. I just don't think it's funny. I'm just like, it's not why like she doesn't just it's gonna keep going. Like it's also like not ending. We're gonna keep seeing more of it and
Okay,
more of it.
but back to my point. Okay, so what's because she was like, it's so disgusting and ridiculous that that they thought. I'm like, okay, well, it's just spit in a jar. Like, what is the content of hot toit? Like, I'm not going to go into the details of what that is. Like, you can look it up if you want, but is it worse to ask for spit in a jar or to do the act of hot toit? If you really want to break it down, girl, that's worse.
Think about think about how far $600 can go, and somebody is out there saying,
That's a couple of car payments.
"I'm gonna
I'm
give you six hundred
definitely,
dollars to spit in a jar." Like,
I'm definitely,
please spend
I'm
your money in a different way. Please.
like, I don't know what idiots out there paying for it, but if I were offered $600 for spit in a jar, I guess
Oh, I'd do it in a heartbeat
I'm
because I'd be the one receiving the money. It's
gonna
just spit
present.
for me, and
Like, let
if
me
you
know.
clone me, that's a problem for you. You have to deal with it. You have to deal with me as a clone.
I'm gonna do a share screen. I want to see if it'll Facebook. Here we go. Share. I don't know if the audio is gonna work on this, but at least it has the caption. So I'm gonna share. So here it is. I don't know if it'll have the audio, but you can at least read it.
Half Cherokee and
I can hear it.
my baby, she's a Chippewa. She's a one of a kind. Indian outlaw.
I'm sorry.
Half
So,
Cherokee and my baby,
I'm
she's a
Cherokee.
Chippewa.
Okay, I thought that was the funniest thing. I about shit myself laughing for like an.
Whoops. Well, anyways, Jeff just left. Um, Personally, not my favorite. Now that I have full control over the stream,
Yeah, I must have gotten thumped out when I tried to end it. But yeah,
I
it's
just I
stop.
just tried to like take over the whole thing. I was like, I'm gonna pull up the map of the U.S. and we're gonna gerrymander.
Oh Jesus!
We're gonna remap this place.
I think I accidentally clicked something and backed out. But yeah, it's God damn, that video was so funny. I sent it to a few of my friends, and I'm like, look, okay, we're all tired of this. We're all tired of the girl. Some content they've come out with has been great. I think they had I don't have that video, but they had Mortal Kombat, and the reptile that spits the ooze and goo. Like, so they're standing there,
Oh,
beats the shit out, and she rips the mask off, and it's just her face and spits the. Okay, there's some funny shit that's come out of this. But yeah, I mean, apparently they're the family's banking on it, and it's like your 15
yeah,
minutes of fame isn't long.
I'm never gonna be upset for that someone gets money. I'm more just like I don't want
We
to see it anymore.
as
It's
men need to spend our money better. Just like I'm not advocating or taking away or whatever from stuff like OnlyFans, but it's like, man, there are billions of free pictures.
I'm fine if someone makes money. They make money in certain ways. Not my business, and you're making a living and you're providing. That's perfectly fine. But
Save it though.
I will say,
It,
why
won't-
are you spending your money on something
it
like that?
doesn't last. All I'm saying is, if you're making money in that way, save it. It doesn't
Because
last.
it's not like there's some sort of feeling of community you get from purchasing from an OnlyFans girl. Like I'll hear the same argument for why do you spend money on sports? The teams don't care about you. And I'm like, one, the majority of merch I buy, I get like custom stuff from like independent people. So like I'll get like a custom shirt or I'll make something of my own. Um, but I'm also like I have a sense of community being with Colts fans and and I love the sport. Like, what are you getting besides a busted nut out of your OnlyFans subscription?
So could you imagine this format in this setting, but specifically talking about one girl's OnlyFans?
That would just be
We do an entire
bizarre.
series podcast on one chick's
Yeah,
OnlyFans.
I
No, there's a
think,
sense of community with this.
or like here, I don't know the names of any OnlyFans girls. I'm gonna do SI swimsuit, because like I know Kate Upton. Well, listen, I think if Kate Upton, she can just keep pushing through. She's gonna be able to just get past this little slump she's going on, and she's gonna push through to the next to the next level. And who's the Olivia Culpo. I think she just married Christian McCaffrey. I think Olivia Culpo is just geared up for a big year next year. She
She's
she's
gonna have
been
a great
working
year.
hard in the off season.
So let me ask you: is Mia Khalifa going to make a return, or is
Oh my god! See, it's just odd. It's so
you can't do this with that? They're
weird.
just like, look at these
It makes
two
me.
perverts.
It really makes my skin crawl, and you can. I don't know. People get mad when like other men will get upset because you're just calling them out when you speak negatively about that.
Like I don't care what you do in your free time. I don't like as long as it isn't like to a crazy extent. It's like damaging the house and hurting your wife or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't need to know about it either. But stop spending money on stupid. Like, okay, let me ask you something. How many times? And women get this all the time, and men are weird and they weird stuff. How many times have you had a hard day's work and then you get like, okay, got into Facebook and whatever, and then a random girl messages you and say, hey, send me your daily work dirty boxers. Not never, right? That's not something that ever happens to a guy. Guys will ask and pay for these. Like
That's so weird.
it's so
Dude,
weird.
that
They'll
is
ask for
so.
women. It's so weird. Like
It's
come on,
like,
guys. You gotta spend your money better.
have you ever touched a woman before in real life?
Like, come on,
Like
dude.
that is
You
like,
gotta
yeah,
spend your money better. I
it's those people
understand.
have never touched a woman
Guys
in
have
their life.
asked for a girl's dirty bathwater. It's insane.
I want to say in like Japan or China, somewhere there's vending machines for like dirty underwear for
Yeah.
women. You just go up, you're like, hold on, I gotta run by the vending machine. I gotta go pick up some underwear.
Pick up some dirty panties. What are we
I
doing,
guarantee
guys?
you, I guarantee you, those women just like they like recruit men to wear the underwear for a day. They're like, hey, can you just like throw this on? I'll
Like,
give you like $100 to wear the underwear.
and it's very. I don't know if y'all watch Sunny in Philadelphia. There was an episode where I think it's one of the new episodes, newer seasons, most recent season. You don't know that Charlie has a sister or sisters, and he talks to his mom about something ridiculous, like the family keeps their teeth in a jar for some reason. The mom gave it to the sister. Yeah, he's the whole family's lunatic.
Oh, I've
But
seen the
but it's
show.
great.
Yeah,
But you find out that he has a sister. She keeps a jar of teeth, like is the family heirloom that gets passed down to generation. She gave it to the sister so that they won't give him back the jar of teeth. And they're like, oh yeah, we do OnlyFans with it. Like, what the fuck do you do with OnlyFans? What do you make videos with this? Well, people pay us to put our hand in the jar and clink it around. I can't remember what it's called.
oh,
Like, oh
like
yeah,
ASMR.
yeah, it's ASMR.
Yeah,
They love it. It's like people pay you to watch, like to put your hand in jar. Well, we have to do it topless. What are we paying for, guys?
that is. I think that's that person is mentally ill if they're
Like,
paying for that. I think you have a mental illness if you're paying for something like that.
apparently, it's a thing, though.
Which
It's weird. And like, guys,
and if you want to
come on,
go
man.
just like if you want to talk about like TikTok live stream, um, like have you seen like all these different TikTok people? Like there's the Miles Morales kid who goes on and he's like NP or he acts like a video game character. This guy Jason Nash, he used to be a big Viner when Vine was a thing. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember when like Vine was like a big thing.
Uh-huh.
He's like on live 24/7 just begging people for money. He's like, "Come on guys, let's get the gifts up. Let's get the gifts up." And everyone's like, "Do you have no shame at all? You would never catch me just like begging for live." for money on like any platform ever. That's so odd.
Well, since we're on the topic, make sure you like and subscribe so we can get money. I would never do such a thing.
I just want, like, I do things that I enjoy. I make content that I enjoy. I make videos that I enjoy making. You know, like, listen, the editing can be very irritating. It can be frustrating, but like, I overall enjoy the creative process of the things that I create, and I'm gonna make it because I enjoy it. And if people want to watch it, I'm not going to ask for their money for it. I'm just going to be like, yeah, I just want you to watch this. And hopefully, in turn, other companies will be like, yeah, we want to, pay you to advertise this. That's fine. I'm going to take money from companies 24/7. I'm not going to say,
let me add my Cash App under my X account.
Please donate to my Cash App. More gifts, more gifts.
I would never ask for money. My Cash App is.
And like, I'll see videos of people. They do videos like, if when you join my live, I'm going to squirt ketchup on my head. Let's see how many bottles of ketchup I can go through. That's a real thing. People actually put out videos.
Do you remember those epic meal times?
How high are the bills? How high are the bills?
Did you ever see those epic meal times? Did you ever see those? Like, they made
epic meal times? Never heard of that.
I don't know if they're still making content. They might be. But it was where they'd make the most absurd thing. And they're like, okay, they would make a giant burger, but out of nothing but candy. And like ketchup would be something and whatever. So it's like there was an episode where it's like those sour patch, strips, whatever. And they said dumb shit as they're making it. It's like gay bacon, because it's the rainbow. It's like the rainbow color. So, but it's bacon, but it's the sour patch strips. But they're like gay bacon. This is the most retarded video, and they just make this gigantic sugar bomb burger. And they count the calories. I'm like 7,000.
I'm kind of convinced those people, the only viewers they have are like bots. Like, there's some people have like bots that just like go and give out stuff to people, or they're just buying their views. A lot of people buy views.
They did like a big meatloaf thing. Like, it's just absurd stuff that there's no way. And they eat it. Dude,
and
that's nasty.
That goes into like a deeper conversation of because there was a post on Barstool, and it was about Anthony Richardson when he said the NFL was easy, and the only quote was, context. "Oh, the NFL is easy," and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this time to like kind of tear into Barstool Sports a little bit, because like I kind of consider what we do, Chaotically Intolerant, like a less in your face content. Like Barstool, like we're a lot of low key, because I think Barstool does great stuff, and they also do some stuff where it's like, this is just like a bunch of frat bros, like being frats, and there's like a negative connotation on that. And I like I commented like, for context, this is what he actually said, and a lot of people were like, thank you, and I responded to some comments saying like, we're never going to be as big as Barstool because we're not going to do the
shock factor.
Yeah, we're not doing shock factor content. I'm going to put stuff out that, I enjoy doing.
Like, Anthony Richardson hurt. Like we're going to put in this title, Anthony Richardson hurt, breaking news. And then it's like, he was hurt on this day last year. And you know what? Like, it's that shock to bring it in. Then you get the view, but it's like, there's no substance to this thing.
And that's what a lot of media does. Like, that is a large part of how media has kind of developed. Because when
sound bites have become the big thing where they take, I won't like, and I hate to bring politics into it, but they do it all the time. To like Trump, they did it on I'm going to be a dictator, and even on Biden's X, I don't know who's actually X tweeting or whatever the hell you want to call it for him, but it was Trump said he would be a dictator. Well, he said that he would undo these things, and then for one day, and then he wouldn't be. We had him for 4 years. He wasn't a dictator. Like, he had this whole slew of sentences before and after where he was kind of joking about it. And I would get rid of this and get rid of this bill that he thinks is awful. I don't really care what the alignment is politically, but the whole thing was taken. He's like, I'm going to be a dictator. Like, that's not. I mean, he said it, but if you have the context of the before and after, that's not at all what he meant. It's just
when
it happens all too often. Is the point?
when I hear people talk about like this is like I think coming from more from the older generation because the younger generation knows like there's a lot more media literacy in the younger generation. They see through the bullshit. They're like, oh, we have to respect the news. The news is a respectable
It is
place of of
all.
information. I'm like, not
It is
anymore. Like
all opinionated journalism.
in
It's the first to report a
1950,
story.
in 1950, like yeah, okay, that it was probably pretty respectful because they didn't feel the need to just be like, oh, we need to be as shocking as possible. We need to put out the most shocking content as possible. They're like, we're
We
just
just
gonna
need to
put out
put out
the
what
news,
happened and what's happening. This
and
candidate
then
is
we're gonna
leading
go
by
off
this.
the air for the night.
Yeah. And here's this person's speech. We're going to show, 30, 40 minutes of it. All right. And here's this person's speech. And, they both had interesting content and it was very neutral. It was very like, this is just the thing that happened. Take what you will from it.
I
And
want to
that's
say
news.
like
Now it's
in yeah
something totally different.
in the
I
2020
hate it.
election, there's a clip from I don't remember who it was, but it looked exactly like ESPN breaking down a play, like they were like breaking down a play on in the NFL, and it was like the camera kind of pans over, and the guy's like, okay, well this state is clearly going to go here, and then he draws a line, and this state go, and this. I was like, I'm watching ESPN talk about the NFL right now. Like this is what it's gone into, and I guess kudos to the news stations for realizing how dumb a lot of people are, and they need that to pay attention.
They shouldn't be saying anything like on election night. Well, this state's probably going to go this way, and they're already doing like projected. Like
Yeah,
you shouldn't be putting anything on the board until the state is already declared and won. Like,
yeah.
can we stop this? We have to be the first to cover this shit. Like that's not news anymore.
Like I don't consider what we
I
do
hate
as
it.
news. Like I'm never gonna call myself the news. I'm
This
never
is
gonna say we're
100%. Unless if Anthony Richardson is texting me, giving me direct information.
yeah. Like I'm never yeah. We're
This is
never
all
gonna
my
say
opinion. This is
yeah. I'm
I
gonna get
don't
shit wrong. We're
yeah.
gonna get shit wrong. It's like like that's
Look,
just
man.
and you have to
I love the Trent Richardson trade. I'll die on the hill. I'm dying on the hill. I love the trade. It was the worst fucking trade.
yeah.
I
Worst
loved
of
it
all
though.
time.
And it was like, and then after a few games, it was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and go hide in the
Walk that
bushes.
back. Yeah.
That was bad.
We're never gonna say we're the news. We're never gonna say we're gonna get everything right. You're gonna get some things wrong. We're not here to be the news. We're here to just have a good time and talk. And if you get it wrong, you fucking get it wrong. It's not a big deal.
It's like, and I also can't make like outlandish comments. Like a few people, what is it? Who said it? Like Jamarcus Russell is going to be he's going to be the next big talent. I'm like, I will never make a statement about anybody like that.
Marcus Russell, by the way, just fired from his high school job.
He was like, it was a volunteer too. Because he stole like 70 grand or some shit. Like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. But yeah,
People,
there's been some crazy stuff said, and it's like, I'll say this kid has the potential to be one of the next great quarterbacks, but I'm not going to put him on Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. Like Caleb Williams, they're already declaring he's going to be the next Brady and Mahomes and put him on Mount Rushmore. Like, he hasn't even played a snap yet. Can we dial that shit? Like, I think
people just have to. People like take anything they hear on the internet as fact.
Yeah.
And this weird thing where people take anything that's said on the internet as directly to you, like to you, the human being, like holding the phone. They think you're having like a conversation.
Like there might be someone out there that's watching this, doesn't like Trump, and thinks that I'm directly saying that they're below. Like this isn't directed at you. I'm saying I have had some interactions with people that will hear that soundbite and blow the shit way out of proportion. It's like I'm not a big political person. I think we probably do better than either one of them, but I also will pay attention to what's being said. I remember a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, it's probably 9 years ago, but there was a movie coming out that was supposed to help support the adoption of dogs and to don't buy from breeders, adopt, that kind of thing. It was really the general message of the movie. I can't remember what it was called, Dennis Quaid. But there was a scene.
dog's life or a
Dog's
dog's
life,
story,
purpose,
dog's
dog's
journey.
story, something like that.
It's
But there was
yeah,
but there was a scene where they were filming the dog trying to do something, and it got like in a river, and of course the river was simulated. And anything that you do with an animal, PETA, there's like 90,000 people on site, to make sure if something happens to the dog, they can rescue it, that the dog's not being mistreated, that it's being handled properly. Like there's a whole thing that they have to do in order to film an animal. So they showed a scene where they were like the trainer was putting the dog's paws in the water, which is how
Mhm.
you're trying to adapt this dog. And it was obviously frightened, so it was doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
then it obviously shifted from a different scene from like kind of like midday to like maybe a little closer to the evening. And they spliced it together like it was a continuous shot. And the
Yeah.
dog's in the river floating down and maybe in trouble. So they leaked this and said, "Don't watch this." What it turned out was it was someone on set that demanded more money because they filmed it and shouldn't have been, and they were trying to say, "Well, I'm going to get you for money because you." That was kind of the whole scenario. So they didn't pay him off. So he leaked this video, and people boycotted the movie, thinking that this animal was put in danger in this movie. Don't
Yeah.
support this shit. Like you couldn't see that it switched, like clearly
Yeah.
from different snippets. Like be objective, like look at these things, and that's kind of what the news is doing right now, is putting up spliced videos of stuff. Be a little more objective, think for yourself, because the news isn't doing it for you anymore.
PETA 2023 was a record year for killing pets for PETA. I am
I
so
don't like them
I
either.
mean I am like I'm very pro like animal rights.
I'm very anti-PETA.
PETA is the
Like
worst
PETA is the
organization on
problem.
the planet. They stole a little girl's chihuahua on Christmas Day and put it down because they thought it was a stray. PETA, they are bad. They're just bad people. I think they are completely bad people. They do it in bad faith. They say that, oh, we kill these pets because either they are, they obviously there are certain reasons for euthanizing a pet because it's just so old it can't.
Health, cancer, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, a quality of life issue. But they say
Mhm.
they will justify killing a pet because being a pet is considered indentured servitude, and they think the pet would rather be dead than be put back into indentured servitude. Well, indentured servitude as a pet. I'm not big on the. I would much rather rescue a dog. Like I wouldn't buy. I personally wouldn't purchase a dog from like a breeder. It's just not right to
Too
me.
expensive, and you don't
Yeah,
know what.
and it's ridiculously expensive. That's the
Yeah,
prices that people pay are insane. Um, but to
like I'm
say
cheap.
it's
I'm just saying.
indentured
If,
servitude,
if I go for a dog, it'll be at the shelter.
yeah, I'm
Like
definitely going
I'm
to the
too cheap.
shelter for a dog. Yeah, I love myself a cheap dog. I mean, listen, your quality. Honestly, if you buying pets from PetSmart is a lot worse just for you financially because a
Mhm.
lot of those dogs get sick, and you're spending thousands of dollars on a dog just to get sick versus you get a dog for what $100 adoption fee or for free depending.
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes they have events like that where you can just like overcrowding, and they're like, "Please, for the love of
yeah,
God, people come donate these, or pick up these animals. Like they need a home."
and
So
they say,
it's
"Oh, well, we just don't have." PETA will say, "We just don't have room for them anymore." How do you not have room for them? Why
you
not just
killed so
buy them in
many.
a
How do you
building?
not have room?
Like, yeah, like what are we
It's
talking about
me.
here? So you kill it? You just fucking kill it? Like that's if you are gonna preach being so pro animal, then don't kill the dog just because you don't have room for it. Figure something out.
So
Seriously, just figure it
so
out.
so what we are here are basically journalists because we think that Latu will have 10 sacks. We're not saying he has 10 sacks this season. Like it's happened.
If you want to think about if you want to
We're
act as
just saying what we
PETA
think will happen.
in the Latu situation, they
Well,
would
he was
have
injured,
literally
so he needs to
murdered
be
him
shot.
as soon as they found out if PETA was running the Colts and they drafted Latu,
They just
they would
draft him to
then
shoot
put
him.
him down because he had surgery 3 years ago and he was medically retired. They would execute it.
See, now they take the soundbite out, and Jeff said they drafted him just to shoot him. Not what I
The
said.
Indianapolis Colts, breaking news, the Indianapolis Colts
Drafted
drafted
Latu to
him
shoot him.
just
Jeff
to
Steck will have
publicly
unstable.
execute him. That's the PETA way.
That's how shit works though. Now
We've gone off the rails. We've gone completely
off the rails. I'm trying to bring us back to a Colts topic. Like, what the fuck?
Man.
How does this? Oh well. At least we're having fun. We hope both of you watching are having fun too. I have to make that joke every time. We need some subscribers, man. We need some shares and likes. The button's there. Just press it. Just do the thing. We can do more PETA content next week for you. It'll be fine.
Let's find some animals.
It's a slow season, guys. It's a slow time of the season.
Who would we put down first on
Oh,
the Colts?
Jesus.
Who would we execute if we were PETA?
Is that corner still there? Is Terrell Baker still on the team?
PETA wouldn't believe in him. They would say, "Listen, he sucked he was bad
Look, he's
for 1 game.
an indentured servant to
done.
the Colts.
He's done." Yeah.
That's so messed up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he did kind of play like burnt toast though, so it's fine.
They would have put him down after.
They would have put him down
because they would have thought, "Oh, we just have no room on the roster."
Oh my god, he's injured.
We can't send him to practice squad. What are you talking about? We have no room on the roster. We just got to kill him.
The PETA way.
I hope if any Colts player happened to hear that, I hope you know.
We're just joking around. We don't have that happens.
We don't want to kill you.
We just want you to play better. That's all.
We also don't support the execution of animals just because you don't have room for them. Would we execute a homeless person because they don't have a home? I don't think so.
That we know of. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully not. I'm just saying. Don't take that out of context either, please. Yeah, we've gone off the rails. But it was fun. I don't have a whole lot else. I don't know if you have anything
I think that's a good
related.
spot to stop.
Yep, executing animals and homeless people is probably the place to put it. Again, we don't want that. Just to be clear, if you made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe. Do the same on this AFC South show. Head over to Third and Teal with the Real Texas Team podcast and whatever the hell the Titans one is. It was never the Titans. Make sure you go over to Chaotically Intolerant and join us next week. Y'all be good people.